If you love your life, then it's natural to fear death. And today we're talking about this taboo topic, this delicate topic of death and fear of death, and how meditation can help you to deal with this fear. Hi everyone, welcome to episode 40 of Master Your Mind Daily, your daily source of inspiration for all things meditation, anxiety, and personal growth. My name is Giovanni Dienstmann. I'm the author of Practical Meditation and the creator of liveandthere.com, one of the 5 most visited meditation blogs on the web. And today we're talking about overcoming the fear of death. And by the way, if you are having suicidal thoughts, then this video is not for you. Please seek help and call the relevant hotline in your country. Alright, so the fear of death. Let me start with a question. Do you fear death? If so, please write yes in the comments, and if no, please write no. So the fear of death is something that perhaps many of us don't think about it too much, especially if we are young. But in a way, it's always there in the background. And it's more common than we think. Sometimes it shows up as health anxiety or illness anxiety. Another form that the fear of death can take is panic disorder, and also specific phobias like fear of spiders, snakes, heights, airplanes, germs, all of that. All of these things are different ways that the fear of death can play. So why do we fear death? Well, we fear death because everything in our body, our whole biology, is programmed to keep life, to survive, to thrive, to avoid pain and death. So there's this very deep programming in us to fear death and avoid it at all costs. That's what nature wants us to do, to preserve life in this body, reproduce and continue life. And so the topic of overcoming fear of death, it depends a lot on what are your views of life, of who you are, of how the universe works. If you have a materialistic worldview, or if you have a spiritual worldview, then how you deal with the fear of death will be very different in these 2 cases. So perhaps I'd like to ask you, do you have a more materialistic worldview or a more spiritual worldview? And by materialistic, I mean you don't believe on anything other than the 5 senses, and you believe that consciousness is produced by the brain and there's no God, etc. That would be the materialistic worldview. And if that's how you see things, please write materialistic in the comments. And if you believe that there's something else, if you believe that there is something more, then please write spiritual in the comments. In both cases, whether you have a materialistic worldview or a spiritual worldview, meditation can help you overcome the fear of death. If you have a materialistic worldview, then it helps by allowing you to relax, to become aware of that fear, of how that fear shows up in your body, and then to teach you how to release that fear by breathing through it, breathing in and out through that part of the body where the fear is living. That will allow you to release that fear a little bit more and accept your situation. Accept the inevitability. Now, if you have a spiritual worldview, then there are many different ways that meditation can help. First is meditation comes from the context of a philosophy that teaches you that you are not your body. That your life, your existence has not begun with your body and will not end with the end of your body. And if you adopt that worldview very, very strongly, truly, then there's no fear of death. I know because that's how it is for me. I don't fear death because I know that I'm not this body. Not only out of a philosophical point of view or a spiritual belief, but also because as you deepen in meditation, you will likely have a deeper understanding of who you are as consciousness, as a spirit or soul, so to speak. And when you know that you are more than the body, then you will not fear the death of the body. And many styles of meditation can help you get to that realization. But the style that I found most helpful and direct in getting to this realization is self-inquiry. With self-inquiry, you quickly realize that you are not your thoughts, you are not your body, you are not anything that you can perceive. Because whatever you can perceive, including your body and mind, is an object in your awareness. And you are the perceiver of that object. You are not the perceived, you are the perceiver. You are not the object, which is the body. You are the knower of the body. You are the subject. And explaining it like this may make some sense immediately, but to turn it into a lived experience, practice is required. And when it becomes more and more of a lived experience that I am consciousness, I am not the body, then you are able to release the fear of death. Or better say, the fear of death goes by itself. Because you cannot die. Your body will die. So that's more the spiritual point of view, which is the original goal of meditation. It's said, especially in the yogic tradition, in the Indian tradition, that spiritual practice is there for you to become immortal. What that means is not that you're going to transform your body necessarily and that your body is never going to die. What it means is that you will realize your true nature, your true self. And that self never dies and was never born. That self is pure consciousness. And it can take a body and it can release a body, and then again it can take a body and release a body. It can go through many lifetimes, but it can never die. And it's never hurt. It's never imperfect. So the real benefit, the real way that you can overcome fear of death through meditation, in the deepest possible sense, is if you are open to the spiritual point of view that meditation comes from. And if you go deep in meditation with the right technique, and you come to realize that there is nothing to fear, that you are not your body and you are not your mind. And when you realize that, then you can live from a place of fearlessness. And that is a great gift of meditation. So in summary, if you love your life, it's natural that you will fear death. Everything in our biology is programmed to avoid death and pain and to continue life. So it's very ingrained. And maybe it doesn't show up as fear of death directly, but fear of disease, illness, anxiety, specific phobias, or panic attacks. And how can meditation help you with that? Well, from the secular point of view, from the materialistic point of view, without any beliefs, Meditation helps you to relax, to be aware of where fear plays in your body, and then to release it and be at ease with it, to accept it. Now, from the spiritual point of view, which is the context from which meditation came in the first place, meditation helps you overcome the fear of death by showing you that you are not the body, and so you will not die. And that, at least for me, is the greatest gift of meditation. I hope you have found this helpful, and if you need my personal help to deal with any of these issues, then consider contacting me for coaching. Happy growing.